It's funny, I mean, I've known Sam, seen her around the circuit, seen some very impressive results, but leading up to this forum, obviously went online and did a bit of research, and I can't believe what she's actually achieved in such a short amount of time. And just to go through some results, in 7 ITU victories, silver at the 2006 Commonwealth Games, an 8th and a 16th at the 04 and 08 Olympics. She was first here last year, and then she took her home title in New Zealand earlier in the year. And this has all been done since 2005 when she first turned professional. It's amazing what you've done in such a short amount of time, and I'm glad you're actually older than me.
I was wondering if I was, when you were going about how old you were, I was like, it's not as me.
Yeah, she's got it on me there. So I just want to know what your background was and how you could step into the sport just 6 years ago and achieve all those results.
Well, really as a youngster, I came from a swing background. They wouldn't believe it, but I came from a swing background. But I was into all different sports, and when I was a youngster, I knew that if I wanted in life as a job, I had to do something in sport because that was the only thing I was good at. So in those days, the only thing you really could do was be a PE teacher. So I thought, okay, I'll go towards being a PE teacher. I was very upset when they told me I had to get my maths and English, but I managed to get them. And then it came to the crunch of when I was doing my swimming. I was doing a lot of running as well. It got to the age of about 20, 21. And if you hadn't really made it in those days, if you hadn't really, not representing, because I'm originally from England, not representing England, not at that competitive level, it was sort of steamed as, well, you're not going to make it, Sam, you need to get your education. So I was faced with that decision, and at the end of the day, like anyone, you need to bring the money in. So I went off and got my teaching degree and got my teacher's teacher's degree. So then I went into teaching. And then I taught in England for 6 years, and then I went over to New Zealand, and I went over to New Zealand to pursue my teaching career because there's a lot more outdoor ed there, and that's one of my specialities. And I basically, age of 28, started doing the women's only triathlon in our little town, Whangarei, and I quite enjoyed that, and I did pretty well. So then I thought, I might go down to Auckland and do a mixed triathlon. So I went down there, did a mixed triathlon, did pretty well, and I thought, sweet. And then there was this other triathlon in our local area, and it was at the time when times were a lot better for sponsorship, and if you won it, you got a free flight anywhere in New Zealand. So I was like, yes, I'm stoked. But you only had a month to use it, and I was like, well, where can I go? And it just so happened that the New Zealand Nationals were down in Palmerston North, and I had some really good friends down there, so I thought, I'll take the flight, go and do the Nationals and see all my friends. So I did that, and I ended up winning my age group, 25 to 29, and qualifying for the World Champs in Edmonton. And I think that's the first thing about triathlon, especially at the Olympic level, is how the amateurs age group is raced one day and the elite race the next. So I raced and I got second in my age group, so I was very, very excited. And I remember watching the elite race the next day, and I just remember standing on the sideline in these black plastic sacks because it was raining, and thinking, I want to be there next year. I want to be in the elite or the pro team next year. And I stood there, I went home, I found myself a coach, decided to work hard, train hard properly, still working full time. And the following year I qualified for 2002 elite team, and I went to Worlds, to the World Champs. I came last, but that doesn't matter, I was there. And so I was in Mexico and I raced. And then from that moment on, I've always just set myself goals of wanting to achieve. And I can remember actually talking to Matt Reed one time when we were lining up for the World Cups, and you're given a number of where you should finish, and the aim was always to beat your number, because your number was always your ranking. So if you're 24, you try and be 22, and whatever. It got a bit harder sometimes when you got higher at the level, but I always remember talking to Matt about that. And I suppose really for me it's just been, I've always wanted to race professionally, I've always wanted to race in my country, and so for me I feel like I've had a second opportunity, because a lot of people think, how old are you? What are you doing? And for me it's just, I didn't achieve it when I was younger, but I achieved it now. And I'm just a big believer in, if you want something, you work hard, you get there, and I just keep going to achieve. And sometimes when you say things like that, you forget what you have actually achieved. And listening to them, I was quite proud of myself. So I don't care how tomorrow goes now. I'm like, wow. But I still really enjoy it. I still believe I can achieve more. And until the body says no, I'm going to keep going. And when it does say no, I'm going to have 6 babies.
You should be proud, but your body obviously almost said no just recently. Having been around the sport and seen the likes of Emma Carney and Welchie, and there's so many guys and girls that I know with heart issues. What was actually wrong with you, and how have you been able to come back?
I actually had an SVT, which in the short sort of short thing is racing heart. Basically, with the heart, there's two things. You have the function of the heart, and then you have the electrical pathways. For me, luckily, my function was okay, but the electrical pathways, for some unknown reason, but it's very common, like you say, in endurance athletes, the electrical pathways somehow develop or I don't know, they regrow. And what happened to me is my electrical pathway, one of them had grown over, you have a pacemaker node, and it grown over that and was sending double the amount of impulses to my atriums. So for some reason, last 6 months of last year, whenever I'd race, my heart rate would get to 145, 150, and it would shoot up to 230. And obviously then I couldn't do anything. And you know, I thought perhaps it was me training too hard or me doing too much racing, but when I had a month off and it was still happening, I obviously got medical help, and they found out that I had an SVT. So on December the 1st, I went into hospital, had heart surgery, and luckily mine was in the atrium, which is not so bad as the ventricles, and they managed to fix it. It was just basically ablated it, and it was electrical shock. And yeah, I had a few months easy training, managed to get myself sorted, and then back out there for the New Zealand Ironman.
And she won it, so not that bad. So passing on to Tyler Stewart at the end here, the only American on the panel, but quite impressive. I mean, looking at what you're doing, and I don't know how you balance it, but currently the world record holder for Ironman bike splits, she rode a 4:42.40. So as I said before, it's getting tougher and tougher these days not to get chicked. So I want to see any guys out there who've ridden a 4:42 or better. You guys are bad. So anyway, we've got a 4:42 and a, what's your best reading? 1:16, I'm guessing, and a 1:16. So we've got some talent up here. But Tyler, she's had a 4th at Ironman Texas, 2nd at Cozumel. She qualified, I think, quite early for Kona. I think it was 10th last year that got you there. So she just decided to do the Sea Otter Classic, and I didn't know her results, so I just went and searched those, and she actually won the criterium, the road race, and the time trial. So it's not bad for a triathlete, or is she a cyclist become triathlete? I'm not quite sure, but obviously, I mean, both sports are very demanding, and I want to know how you balance it. Which one takes priority, and I guess which one benefits from which?
You know, I definitely wouldn't say that I'm a cyclist at all. I mean, I think that I'm best at the cycling event, but I don't consider myself a cyclist. In fact, I'd never done a cycling race until last year. And because I qualified early for Kona, I decided, oh, I want to try something else. I want a new challenge. And someone I'd met, a coach who is now my coach, who also happens to coach Andy Schleck, was like, you know, you'd be kind of good at bike racing. I think you should try bike racing. So last year, because I was already qualified for Kona, I went and I did a bunch of bike racing, but like everybody else, you know, you have to start at the bottom in bike racing. You don't say, I'm a pro triathlete, can I become a pro cyclist? They're like, yeah, who are you? Go away. So I started as a Cat 4, which is where you have to start, and in 2.5 months I became a pro cyclist, and I did a couple of pro races, and then I went to Kona, and my run really suffered because I hadn't run for 8 months. But I had a really good time. It was a really nice break, and in terms of balancing, I'm definitely not a cyclist. My balance in my life is having a full-time job, being a business owner, being a wife, and trying to be an athlete. The cycling that's just for fun.
Okay, so you just win for fun. Got it. It's pretty cool. So actually these guys told me to hurry up, so I'm going to just start asking you one question, and leave the rest to you guys. But we've got Terenzo in the middle here, known as T to the majority of us. Looking, once again, I hated looking at his age. He was actually born after the LA Olympics. I always remember like the Olympics and the bear at Moscow and then LA, and so this guy was born in '85. And since that time he's won 5 world titles. He's 2-time defending EagleMan champion. His last world championship was at 08, 70.3. And obviously defending champion here, but has achieved so much with those 5 world championships. I guess over that time it's been short course, then half Ironman, and now you're starting to step up to Ironman. Not being crude in any sense, but you haven't got a grip of that quite yet. I mean, you've got a lot of years ahead of you. What do you think you need to do just to, I guess, get control of that Ironman racing? Well, he still has seconds everywhere he goes. I think he's had a couple of seconds in New Zealand at Cam Brown, so they're not offensive results, but they're far from Toronto's standards.
Thank you, Chris. I mean, Ironman is a whole different beast, and Ironman in Kona is an even bigger beast than Ironman anywhere else in the world. I decided from an early age that I wanted to be an Ironman athlete. I wanted to be the king of Kona, win the Ironman World Championships in Kona, and basically I set my sights on that goal, and I'm doing everything I can to achieve that. After I won the 70.3 World Champs, so I said, this is it. I've conquered this distance, so time to move up and start learning about Ironman racing, because I knew it was going to take a few years to get it right. And here we are. This is my third year of racing the Ironman distance, and 3 seconds at Ironman New Zealand, 11th in Kona my first year, and seem to be going down until 20th in Kona last year. But every time I race a full Iron distance race, I learn more about my body, I learn more about the distance, and that's important, and I still do have age on my side, like Chris said, thanks. But I mean, you can speak to my girlfriend Kelly and anyone else who knows me well, I don't have that much patience. So I'm out there, I'm not happy just being a number in the race. I want to be number one, and that's what I strive for every day, and that's what I work towards with everything I do.
We're talking about that patience and impatience, and I look at 70.3 and Ironman as almost 2 different races, and some people look at it as, or categorize it as long course racing, but to me they're totally different energy systems, and you need patience. When you race aggressively, you're a great swimmer, you attack at the start of the bike. I mean, do you think it's time to change? And you see so many great athletes do that coming from a short course background. Not that you want to sit back, but it seems to be the way you need to do it, and then hold things for a little later.
Knowing about your body in the race is important, and I mean, being a young, hot-blooded Italian, like Vigo said, I just want to go. I just want my emotions always just want to take over. I just want to push the limits. And I remember when I did my first Ironman, Kelly, my girlfriend, said to me, look, just relax. When you're out there, you're going to want to react. You're going to want to get emotional. Don't get emotional. Just stick to your plan and just take it step by step. And that's probably the best advice that I have gotten. And it's just hard to stick to that, because being a racer like most of us are, you don't want to sit back, you don't want to shell out, you don't want to wait for the second half of the run, you just want to go, you want to give it everything now. But if you do that, you're going to pay for it, and you're going to pay for it big time.
That's good advice. Moving on to Richie, Mr. Richie Cunningham.